What's up, everybody? Welcome back to How It's Done. Today we're going to be showing you how to install a new garage door opener. It could be done when you don't have one, or you've got one that's not working, you've got one that's super loud and it's just getting ready to go out. You might decide to replace it. This house is pre-wired for a garage door opener, so it's got the wires for the sensors on both sides that will come out here, along with the wires for the button over here. So we'll be making use of that. So let's go ahead and get this puppy unboxed. If you are replacing a garage door opener because it's not working well, you're also going to want to check the spring, because if the spring is weak or bad, sometimes you'll have a two spring setup where one is broken and the other one is trying to do the weight of two. Your problem might not be the garage door opener. You also want to look at the rollers, make sure that these are on there right. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to walk you through installing a brand new garage door opener with the smart setup, I think it's like MyQ setup. So we'll run you through that today on How It's Done. Alright, so we've got everything unpacked. I've confirmed that everything that's supposed to come with this came with it, but it does not ship with the ankle brackets to mount to the ceiling. So we're going to go ahead and run to Home Depot to pick up the angle brackets. We're also going to pick up some light bulbs for these, since it didn't ship with those either. I've seen some that come with the angle brackets, some that don't. Most don't come with the light bulbs though. So we're going to run and grab those and we'll be back. All right, so we ran to Home Depot, picked up a bracket kit so that we can get this guy mounted to the ceiling. And it's got a couple lag bolts, the extra screws. That's why I went with the kit, because it's got all the extra screws you're going to need to get this in there. So yeah. And then I also picked up the two light bulbs that we're going to need to put in here. Just went with some standard, pretty cheap 800 lumen LED bulbs for this. So one on each side, about 1600 lumens. Not bad, pretty good. It'll light up the garage a lot better than just a single can light that they got here. So first thing we're going to do is go over here, measure the distance between the highest point that the garage door gets to the ceiling. So as you can see, as this opens up more, it's going to get closer and then kind of level out. So you don't want this top piece to hit your top rail. So we're going to measure the highest point and then go up 2 inches from there, and we'll mark on the walls. All right, so here I've got marked a measurement of 8 3/4, which was the highest point that this garage door came to. And then I went up 2 inches, which is what the instructions on this say to do. And then that is going to be the bottom of this guy right here. If it'll focus. Clearly not. Okay, so that's going to be the bottom of this. So I'm going to go ahead and mark those holes. We'll anchor this in place. All right, so for the next part, we're going to be installing the rail. It's super duper easy. You basically are just going to take these pieces and slide them into each other, and they clip and lock in place just by pressing down. See if I can get an angle where you can see what I'm talking about. There you go. So you press down and you can hear them clip in place. So do that with all of them. Be aware that the one on the end near the garage door has this opening in it, and you want your little clip right here to be at the top. So just make sure when you're putting them together, you orient it that way. All right, so once you got the rail assembled all the way up to here, you're going to go ahead and take the attachment to the opener, put that on there. You're going to have one bolt that attaches it and one nut that attaches it. Get that started. Get that guy started. Go ahead and just tighten it down on there. Yep, this guy seems to have come loose. No problem. You don't want to overdo it, but snug in place. We'll just slide this guy onto there. See if I can do this with one hand. Definitely not, but yeah, so we'll lock that in place. Now, before you go ahead and put the pulley and everything everything on there, along with the belt, you're going to want to put the trolley on there. So basically, again, trying to do this single-handed is not the easiest thing with a camera in the hand, but doing it on your own, one person, not super difficult. You just slide it on there and slide it down. You want to make sure that this little pull latch is toward the back. You can face down, but you want it to be in the back position toward the house, not toward the garage door. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take this belt, feed it through. We're going to take the pulley, push that through, put the nut through that all the way. We'll put the lock nut on the back side, which is going to be a lot easier to do with two hands, but yeah, once that's there, we'll put the nut on the bottom. There we go. And then we'll tighten that down with a wrench. Over here, you're going to have a safety bolt that goes through to keep the slide from going all the way up against it. And then you'll have just a locking nut like this that goes underneath. So we'll tighten those down. All right, so we have rolled out the belt all the way along, and it's kind of loosely sitting on there. So what we're going to do now, you see it's kind of got this hook on it. So I'm going to take a screwdriver and slide it down in this hole so that the trolley doesn't slide too much. And we can slide this back and hook it like that. You want to make sure that it's not rolled or got any loops or anything in it, and that when it's pulled tight, it's going to sit flat like that. So now that that's done, go ahead and pull it tight around this way, around here. You see it's nice and tight, and we're good with this. Now we're going to use this spring and a couple other little pieces that I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so this is what's known as the master link, and basically this piece right here is going to slide into here and here, just like just like that. And then from there, we're going to take this one, put it over these two. There we are. And last but not least, this locks everything in place. Of course, I'm going to have to do that with two hands, but bear with me. All right, so got it together. One other thing I do want to point out, this bolt has a semi-flat side to it, where the threads have been kind of shaved off. That's going to be facing outside of where the teeth are on the belt, or if you want to say that the flat side of the bolt is flat with the belt, that works too. So now we're going to go ahead and adjust this again around here so that it fits nice and tight, and we can get some threads through the trolley. And we will put the spring bolt on it. And begin to tension it. All right, so now that everything is tensioned up appropriately, as you can see, we're looking good. So we're going to go ahead and put this cap on top of the gear, the drive gear, so that we don't have a bunch of dirt and debris getting in there. So we'll just put these two screws in to hold it in place. And then we're to the point where we might need an extra hand, but I'll show you how we can do it without. So attaching this to the header bracket, basically just set that in there. Push your pin all the way through, and then you'll take this little lock ring and you twist it. Let me see if I can get where you can see what I'm doing. You twist it until it snaps in place and you've got it there. Now, depending upon the height of your setup and how it is related to the spring, you might not be able to just have this set straight on the ground like that. You might have to use a ladder and just bring it out beneath your setup and have it resting on a ladder while you're doing this, or you could have a friend hold it for you. But because the spring was located where it was on this, we're fine. So we can tell roughly where the stud is based upon these guys. So the stud's going to be just on this side of these two boxes. I can tell that based on how this is laid out, or the ceiling beam, I guess I should say. So we're going to go ahead and screw our bracket up there. Make sure we use some good lag bolts to get it into the ceiling. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut these to be the same length as if it were going to the hole on this, so that this thing will sit as level as can be. All right, so next we're going to measure the distance between these two. It's 10 inches. So we're going to come up here. And I've already found that my center is right where I got this middle screw. So I'm going to measure out 10 inches, and half of that would be 5. So from 5 inches out either way. And we know that about where this line is and where this line is where we want the bracket to be. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect. It's got a little bit of sway that you can have to it, so we're going to be close. But we just want this to be sitting about centered so that we don't have any unnecessary pressure put on the door as it's being pulled. So we'll go ahead and hang our two little brackets that we've cut, and we'll bring this up to it and bolt it in place. All right, so for the door bracket, which is this guy, we're going to take the two self-tapping screws that they got, and we're going to screw into the preset holes that are already in this door. All right, so once that's up there, we're going to be using the same pin as we did for above. Take this pin, get that kind of set in there. Then this guy's going to go on top of that. See if I can, yeah, that's probably not going to work with one hand. Let's see if I can get it like this. Okay, that works. Cool, so get that on there. And then the same thing, we're taking this little lock pin and let's see if I can get a better angle on that for you. So this little pin just locks right in there like that. And there you have it. And then this guy will slide up, anchor 2 bolts to this to hold that in place. And then that's going to attach to the trolley here. So with the trolley, pull this straight down, the trolley will slide across. That way you can connect your rod to it. All right, so everything is connected mechanically, and I've gone ahead and hung this little pull to deactivate it from the pulley system up here. So you can open and close it manually. Now what we're going to do is wire it. On most of these spots, you don't need to remove both screws. You can just remove one because all you need to do is get it to wire. And then we're going to feed it through this hole, put the plate back on, similar to what I've done over here. So save yourself a little time, just loosen this one, a half a turn, take this one out, spin it down, and feed this through. At the top here, you're going to have 3 wires coming through. Can you tell which one goes to which? Because I sure can't. If you're replacing a garage door opener, yeah, it's going to be pretty easy to tell because you can see where they're made up over here. But if you're installing a new one, you're not going to have a clue. Now on this guy, you do want to take the plate completely off because this is going to be replaced with the opener. The opener I have over here. You can see it's going to completely cover that opening. So where this screw is and this screw is, assuming I don't drop it on the ground and break it. So it's got one that you'll put the screw back in and just have it sticking out a little bit. And the other one, like I said, goes through the face here, and you'll just make these 2 wires up. But we need to figure out which wire is which up there first. And in order to do that, you're going to need a voltage tester. So let me show you how to do that. So up here, the red and the white from your push button are going to go to the first 2. And the white, and this is actually going to be red because the wires are all red and white with the way this was pre-wired. But if you have a white and a gray, this would be the white and the gray from both of these locations down here. So the only one we really need to identify then would be the one going to your push button. So how we're going to do that is we're going to strip the wires back a little bit, touch them together, and we're going to use the continuity setting on our voltage meter, because what that'll do then is when we know that it's solid all the way through, it'll do the same thing as when we touch these leads together. It'll beep on me, kind of like that. So we'll just go to the ends here and touch one lead to each end of the wire, and we'll see which one beeps. So on the back of the push button opener, red wire to red wire, white wire to where the white says it should go. It's really not super complicated. If you don't have red and white coming out of here, say you've got some different colors, if it's like yellow and blue or something like that, doesn't matter. As long as whatever color you've got going to the red terminal here is what you've got going to the red on the garage door opener. Same thing for white. You could have the blue going to the red and the blue going to the red up here, and a yellow going to the white up there, and a yellow going to the white down here. It's still going to work the same as long as they're made up in the right spots. All right, so for these safety sensors, not super hard. You'll take the bolt, slide it through the back here, like so. And then these just pop on, by the way, super duper easy. What I did was I measured 12 inches up, made that the top, and yeah, this just slides right through. And then you take your wing nut and tighten it down, and then you do that on the other side. I did cut the wire off here because it came with a good length of wire, and the white is obviously going to be made up to the white from this guy, and the red is going to be made up to the black here because it was intended to be gray. So if you remember how we made it up at the garage door opener, it's going to match up that way. All right, so plugged in, bulbs in, and we've got the sensors. Green light over here, which means it's receiving the beam, and this is the yellow one, which means it's sending it. So you're not going to see this one blink when you put your foot in front of it, but you'll see that one blink on the other end. So we know that it's lined up right. If it's not, basically just maneuver this until you see this guy start to blink a little bit, and then you know you're close, because it means you've made contact and then stopped, and then just, you know, adjust from there. There's no real simple way of doing it. You just have to kind of play with it. So from there, programming your limits in terms of opening and closing, you're going to be a little bit different for each particular garage door opener, but this is the Chamberlain MyQ series. So you press this yellow button once, press it again, and then this is there. So you press and hold that, and it says to set the upper limit. So you press and hold this. So your garage door is at the point that you want it to be. We'll go with that. That looked pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's good right there. All right, so then we're gonna press this middle button again. Blinks twice to say it's accepted it, and now we press the lower limit. So you press and hold that. It's gonna set our lower limit. And I want a little bit of tension here, but not much, so about like that. You can see how this is pressed up, got a little bit of tension, but not too bad. So we're gonna press it again, saying we accept that. And the lights blink, and now it's gonna go through, and it's beeping, warning us that it's getting ready to test it. So that's the up. Now it's blinking, warning us again that it's going to test it going down. There you go. Now it should open and close very easily with this, and we can turn the light on and off using the light button. You can also use the light switch to turn off this one, and then light off, on, press this to open the garage door. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Garage door opener installed. We'll just close that lamp holder and pretty much done. Thanks for joining us today on How It's Done. For more videos like this, like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time.